Hello, and welcome to the Kathleen Spracklin podcast. I am a woman on a mission to establish a cadre of writers, thinkers, and teachers who are transforming the world one character at a time. And it all starts with one thing, a deep understanding of human motivation, why people do what they do, and the forces that drive them. To gain that understanding, I am mining the intersection of psychology, theology, and philosophy to make you a better writer. This is episode 135. So part of the Getting Started with Your Zettelkasten series, this is on setting up your series. Just about a week ago, I did a video where I was talking to you about what do you need to get to start your Zettelkasten and what decisions do you have to make. So check that one out for your trip to the stationery store. I'm going to start out with one more thing that you might want to get before you leave the stationery store. And that is a set of dividers that you can write on to put numbers in them. Now, they have some good choices now. For a while, you couldn't really find them. I don't know why they had kind of disappeared. And so I would recommend it, if you can't find them, to use dividers that are for the months of the year, because if you spin them around, the back sides are blank. And for starters, for the numbering system that I'm going to teach in the video that I'm going to record tomorrow, I've been promising this one, it's going to be recorded tomorrow. What you'll write on these dividers that will go in your main card, these are just placeholders to keep the geography of your main box where you can turn to the range you want to be in quickly. And so what I'm going to have you do to set this up, if you're going to follow my effortless numbering system, you will use 6 dividers where you'll put the numbers from 1 to 6, and 6 more dividers where you'll put the numbers 1,000 to 6,000. You can do it now while you set your box up, or you can wait until tomorrow when you watch the complete video, start to finish, on the easiest method of Zettelkasten numbering that you ever could imagine, and with the beauty and the confidence of knowing that it's mathematically equivalent to the most complicated, crazy numbering that you've ever seen. All the power, all the flexibility, and so easy, you won't believe it. Because you need to be thinking about your subject matter, not your numbers. But that's for tomorrow. So I had you, when you were at the stationery store, I had you, of course, get your a goodly supply of file cards. And I suggested that you probably want to get some colored file cards as well. Tomorrow, we'll talk to you about why you want these tomorrow, and a box, some kind of a box. Now, my favorite box I showed you was a kind of oversized for a beginning Zettelkasten. So if you took me up on this, I want to share with you how to manage an oversized box when you're just getting started. And I think you can actually get a hint right from this side view. Well, here, in this range right here, are just your supplies. Your supplies make a very good thing to take up some of the extra space in your box. Here, you can get creative. Use a small book. Use a small container. Anything that takes up a little bit of extra room. If you're using something big and bulky, put it to the back. Oh, and then I have to share with you something that I've shown from time to time, but it's a real favorite of mine. And these are little packs that I make and glue and tape them together, and they're just junk mail. And then I put a colored file card on each side, just so I don't have to read the advertisements. Can't do much about the junk mail I use for banding. And these are, if you make them in a size that's, maybe not even a half an inch thick, or maybe a 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch, something like that, they are very flexible in their behavior in the box, and you can have just the perfect amount of space left to make it very easy to work with your Zettelkasten. Because when you're working with your Zettelkasten, you want that all-important V. Now I had you select 1 to 3 dividers that were alphabetical. Now, great, you're back from the stationery store already, and now I tell you, well, I'll say it anyway, just in case you haven't gone yet. If you're going to go forward and buy 3 sets of dividers, which I highly recommend, I recommend that you get 3 different styles of dividers so that you can tell at a glance what alphabetic range you're working with. And now we're going to start setting up the 3 alphabet areas in our box, because we can get those going before we actually make our first main card. So I would say whatever set of dividers you've got that is your absolute sturdiest, make those your index. You will be in your index every day that you use your Zettelkasten. You'll be in and out of your index. Your index, you are just going to depend on it so much, and it's going to be such a good friend to you that you want to really treat it nicely and give it your sturdiest cards that you were able to buy. Then, what are you going to do to start? Well, an index is organized alphabetically. So to launch you're going to make alphabetical cards for every letter of the alphabet. If I can separate them. I've got A, B, and C done here, but I can only see A and B because they don't want to. There we go, A, B, C. Of course, you go all the way to Z. Well, what's that paren 1? That paren 1 there just means that this is the first card in the A's. You're going to fill it up, and you're going to need more cards, and the second card will be paren 2, paren 3, paren 4, etc., as you put entries in your index. Now we're going to have a separate section on how to create an index entry, how to create entries in each of these styles, but this will get you started right now, and you'll make 26 of these, 1 for every letter. And if you bought even 1 alphabetic divider, use it for your index and put 1 with every letter. Pretty straightforward. Well, beyond that, if you bought 2 dividers, then I recommend that you take the second set of dividers and get kind of like a Sharpie pen or some kind of a fine point marker, and actually put R dot in front of the letters of the alphabet. This is going to be your bib box, and all of our bib cards are going to be numbered R dot something to distinguish them from an index entry, and to, in a glance, know that this is a reference to a card in a bib box. So you're going to modify all of your dividers to say R dot, and then you're going to make a similar set of cards, just like you made for your index, only, surprise, surprise, these are all going to be R dot A paren 1, R dot A paren 2, R dot A paren 3. And I will show you how these work in a separate video, but these will get you started. And file 1 of these. If you do have 2 sets of dividers, file 1 of these behind each letter of the alphabet, and that will get you started with your bib box. Now, if you got 3 sets of dividers, whoa, are you the lucky person? If you have 3 sets of dividers, you don't have to do anything special at all. Just plunk the dividers in. As we add people to the people box, that's what these will be for. We'll file the people appropriately alphabetically. And there's even some fun stuff that I'm going to show you about that, because we're going to make a distinction between what type of people will affect what we put on the card. Because our people box is any person. If you're going to be reading a book by Aristotle, Aristotle's going to have an entry in the people box. If you're going to log your next door neighbor's at home, an address and phone number, and you want to do it analog style, they'll go in the people box. Obviously, you're going to want different information for your next door neighbor compared to the author of a book or an author of a quote or an author of another source. So we'll talk more about that another time as well. So then you have up to 3 indexes. I hope you were able to get all 3, because if you're able to get all 3, you'll be very happy. And if you weren't able to get all 3 at once, just gradually as you can, get the other 2 indexes. So those will go into your bib box. I like to place the index to the front, and then if my whole box is in one box, I would go index, people, bib. And then where do my main cards go? We don't have any main cards yet, but if it's all in one box, my main cards will go to the front. You will be surprised at how quickly you won't be able to fit your 3 alphabeticals, and your main box will outgrow this surprisingly quickly. And then at that point in time, you'll get a second box of, if say you get one like this, your second box will be your alphabetics, your index, your people box, and your bib cards, all in a separate box, and your main box will be in one place. And of course, there's no limit. You're going to find that eventually you just grow into boxes and boxes or drawers and drawers, because you're going to get addicted to doing a Zettelkasten really quickly. Zettelkasten feeds you so much energy and gives you so many little joy bubble moments that it's very easy to just find yourself wanting to work with your Zettelkasten quite regularly. So now, as I said, if you're ready to get started and you do have some extra blank dividers, you can number these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. That will, if you got a set of month dividers, it will be enough to get you started. If you've got a big pack of dividers and you've got a lot of them, I'll leave that up to you how far you want to go. You want to go 6 to 10? You want to go to 20? You want to go from 6,000 up to 10,000, 20,000? It's up to you. How many? I think mostly I would say don't get too carried away, because what these are going to do for you, these are like milepost markers on the highway. When you're going to look for a specific card, it's helpful to have some dividers in there so that you can find where you're looking and you know where to start searching. And so these dividers are just handy marks and mileposts in the road to say, oh, am I about where I want to start looking? That's the only thing they're there for. And if you had the opportunity to get some blank ones and you want to get ahead on what we're going to cover tomorrow in the grand numbering, you'll be that much ahead. So tomorrow's the big one, where I talk about absolute easiest, most flexible numbering system that you could ever imagine, that simultaneously gives you absolute mathematical equivalence of the most complicated numbering system anybody ever devised. And you can do it effortlessly. And that, if you've been following along, you've had hints of this, but I'm putting the whole thing together in one grand video tomorrow, start to finish. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.